From WQAD News 8, this is WQAD This Week.
Good morning. It's Sunday, September 18th. Thank you for joining us for News 8 This Week. I'm John Diaz. We are now less than 2 months away from the November midterm elections. A lot of important decisions for voters in both states. They'll get to decide if they want a new governor or if they'll give their current governors another term. Both states also have constitutional amendments on the ballot, and for some voters in Iowa, voting laws that took effect after the 2020 election may still be unfamiliar to them. And joining us now to talk about some of those changes and the effort to get people to vote and election security, Iowa Secretary of State and Commissioner of Elections, Paul Pate. Secretary, thanks for joining us this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, I want to talk about, first of all, why you're in eastern Iowa. You were handing out some awards the past couple of days. Tell us about that.
Well, we were putting out the Carrie Chapman Cat Award, a famous Iowan who also helped get women the right to vote in Iowa and women across the country. And it's a recognition of schools who register over 90% of their eligible students in their high schools. It's our way to inspire them, and it's been a program we've had now for over 3 years. And we were in the area doing Rivermont as a presentation. It'll be their third time of winning it. And we've got about 30 schools in the state who have attained that, and about 100 of them who would be the next tier down. And we're just happy to see those schools stepping up.
So I want to talk about absentee voting, and as it relates to kind of getting out the vote, tell us, what do people need to know, and what do you expect as far as people taking advantage of that and using that as a way to vote?
Certainly. Well, we like to give people options, of course, because everyone has a different lifestyle and other challenges going on. But absentee-wise, you can start requesting those right now if you'd like, and they'll start mailing those to you October 20th, so you can then process and vote as you see fit. You can also go to the local county courthouse and vote. You can, perhaps a satellite voting site might be set up as another choice. And of course, the traditional method, voting on election day. You can register to vote on site on election day as well. Just bring some type of identity information that will verify who you are and what address you live at.
Okay. We talked during the primary to voters, and for many of them, it was the first time voting since some changes went into effect. And that was probably the biggest election. This one may be a little bit bigger because it's not a primary, maybe more people are paying attention to it. Are there some changes people need to know about just in terms of the voting process that could change what they expect on that day?
We've had it out now for a couple election cycles, so I don't think there's any major changes other than the dates, and those dates are right in place now as far as requesting absentee ballots. That's the biggest one. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same, and if you want to know more information, you can always go to voterready.iowa.gov, and they do outline things, even how to find your polling site.
Okay. We were just talking a little bit before our interview started about election security.
Right.
It has been obviously something that's been talked about since the 2020 election, and your office has made quite an effort to get out information about the security of elections in Iowa. Can you talk about that effort, but also talk about what measures you have in place and perhaps what measures are, down the way?
Well, I think it's very important. People have to have confidence in the election process, or we lose the battle, if you will, because when they don't believe the election results, democracy falls. And that's when the opposition wins, whether that be Russia, China, or wherever you want to look at it as a third party bad actor, and they do it without firing a single bullet. So we really do extra effort on giving you transparency in the process. And we have things such as, we have voter ID to make sure it's the real person voting. We also work very hard on what we call pre-election audit, where we test the voting tabulators ahead of time, and that's a public testing. We have paper ballots. You can't hack a paper ballot. And then, of course, we have post-election audits, where I select, in each county, I will select one precinct that they have to hand count and verify it against their tabulators. And the best part of it, we have our secret weapon, and that's our friends and neighbors, the unsung heroes, who are the poll workers. They're right on site every step of the way to make sure everything is on the up and up. Those all combined are done so we can assure you of the integrity. And we've done multiple things on the cyber side. We have more defense mechanisms and partnering with the National Guard Cyber Division, the Homeland Security in Iowa and on the national level, dealing with other experts in the field, because we want to keep those bad actors away. But I underscore, nowhere in our voting process do we interface with the internet. So you can't hack into a vote. It's still old school, paper ballot, and I don't see anything changing on that front.
And what are you looking at in the future? Because you've described this sort of as a race that doesn't have a finish line.
Yes.
Is there more things that you can do and are looking to do?
We can never stop. We can never rest. There's always somebody out there trying to figure out a way around things, unfortunately. And so we have to keep looking at the latest technology, both from the standpoint of how it might compromise us, and also what can we offer for technology to protect us, and various procedures. How can we improve on those? Because what we're seeing is increased participation. Iowa's one of the top states in the country. And so if you're going to have increased participation, we've got to have ourselves out there ready to deal with volume for voting. And we're talking 75% of the folks that are voting, over 93% are registered to vote in Iowa. So it speaks volumes on that front.
Okay, so to that point, what are you expecting to see as far as turnout this year? Is there a way that you can gauge that even beforehand?
If I could really do that well, I'd be a bookie in Vegas. I suspect we're going to have a healthy turnout. I'm a little spoiled because we had nothing but records this last 2 and 3 cycles, both in the primaries and in the general. So frankly, I want to keep that number up there. But it gets a little harder because we've got some folks out there who, because of their candidate not winning, they are a little more reserved on believing in the integrity. And I don't want them sitting at home. They really want to have their voice heard. They need to be a voter.
All right, very good. Secretary Pate, thanks for joining us this
Thank
morning.
you.